Sorry, you guys. I forgot you have to change animations. You have to change animations when you're doing that. When you're doing the thing. Sorry. You guys were seeing nothing. Oh my god. So sorry. Okay, we got this. It's a bad run anyways. You see, it's a bad run. I'm messing it up on purpose because it was just a practice run. It was not for your eyes. It was not meant for your eyes, you know? It was not meant for your eyes. Now it's the real things. Now it's competitive too. You guys can feel it. Ah! Ah! I get my record if I get this. If I get this, I get my record. Wait. Oh no! Yes! I just got my record! Holy! We got 42! We got 42! Nah, that's a mad thing. That's a mad thing. What a run. What a run. This is insane. This is insane. Oh my god. First, like second try. I guess it's rook here first. Check, king here, and checkmate. What a puzzle. I really did this without thinking. I don't think I had much time either, so just did it without thinking. But here, what's wrong with this? King takes, check. King here, check. King here, check. And king f2, and there's no mate. That's why you have to bring the rook here first. Yeah, so that's why you have to bring the rook here first. Okay. That's why you have to bring the rook here. Suggest theme, what? Okay, that's why you have to bring the rook here first. And then it's shielded from this rook. It's a really insane puzzle. Really insane. What's another one I missed? Okay, I missed this one. It was king takes. And I played this instead. Okay, check here. Is it this? Okay. I wonder why. It's just made like this. I wonder why it's not rook g. Maybe there's an extra move here that's thrown in. I think everything's winning. Rook g8 doesn't work at all. Oh, the king escapes. My bad. Contrarily to this, in which... Oh, the king doesn't escape this way. I see. The king tries to escape, but then you rear it back in. That's very interesting. And this one... Ah, this was a cool one. This is a king hunt. So my opponent took here. I take here. And I played b4. I think then it's going to be bishop here. King b4 and... check this mate. Here, check this and check this, and it's gonna be mate here. Like so. Like this. Like this with mate. Okay. So those are the puzzles I missed. The rest, brethren, that was so sick. So sick. Right. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed that. I can't believe I got it on my second try there. That was crazy. But you have watched till now, so I have to reward you. Today we have the end game of the day. I kind of want to do this on videos that are a bit shorter so we can reach the 8-minute mark to pass those ads. Thank you so much for watching my ads, by the way. Okay, so today's end game of the day is by Vasily Smyslov, the GOAT. Not the GOAT. The GOAT is Capablanca, but Vasily Smyslov is like the secondary GOAT. Capablanca walked, so this guy could run. Vasily Smyslov was the world champion from 1957 to 1958, literally from one winter, because at the time you could challenge back somebody who stole your World Chess Championship title. It was some mad times. Anyways, so he has this endgame here with the white pieces. Here it is white to play and win in this endgame. Pause the video to solve the problem if you actually want to try and solve this, which I do recommend. It's a fun little endgame thing. Don't want to say too much about it. Let's look at this endgame. So overall, this is a bishop endgame of the same color. So they're both on the dark squares, which means this can very well be winning for one side more than the other. If it was opposite square bishops, let's say this bishop was on g4, it's most likely a draw with equal pawns on the board. But this can be most likely winning. So that's number one. Number two, let's look at the pawns. Let's look at the material. Here, when looking at the pawns, I think the white pawns are equivalent to the number of black pawns on the board, so it's a pretty equal position. If you're looking for a win here, you're going to have to come up with some creativity when considering our move options. Progression-wise, I'm not seeing much for either this bishop or this king. There's not much that you can do to try to attack some of the weaknesses in this position. These are negative points, but they're counteracted with a potential winning plan, which you need to find. Okay, enough talking. Here is the solution. In this position, Vasily Smyslov in 1936 played b4. And this is the break we needed in this position. This harms this very strongly seeming pawn structure with the combination of this pawn and this bishop. Now, there are two very direct variations we're going to look at. The first one is not what was played. This is c takes b4. And this kind of reveals this pawn on b6, to which we take with our bishop, and now we create a second weakness. So we traded two pawns, and now we created a second weakness to get a pawn up. And you'll see down the line, so let's say b3, threatening b2 to queen, we are forced to play king d3. And here, if you want to try to harm my pawn structure with this weakness here, attacking on e5, here I would have bishop d4, and this is completely winning for the white pieces because not only are we defending e5, we're defending b2 with the bishop, not with the king anymore, which means our king is free to like gallop over here. And even more than that, it's free to stay and take up the e4 square. And here we're just gonna march up our pawn, c5, c6, c7, c8, gone. And there's not a good way for black to anticipate or try to target or try to save this position or try to stop this pawn. It's done. So black would play like b2, to which we would really needingly and urgently stop this pawn with king c2. After king f5, you'd think that we shouldn't take this b2 pawn because black would just take on e5 and create a second weakness. There's a little caveat here. We can take both of these pawns, so let's say takes, and after king takes b2, only with simple calculation we'll see that you cannot take on f6. If you take with the king, I have this beautiful skewer bishop d8. And at the beginning, when we were saying this bishop is a little woozy, it is. Because of this, what bishop is on h4, don't ask. And if bishop were to take on f6, we have bishop c3 check, forcing the king to f5 to continue to defend this bishop on f6. We take the bishop, king takes, and then a5, threatening a6, a7, a8. You cannot stop this pawn. You can try, but you cannot stop it. Queening, next move. And so here the black pieces cannot take the pawn, king d6 to try to stop our pawn. We'll just go bishop d8 defending our f6 pawn rightfully, and after king c5, king c3, we are now a pawn up in what is a very lucrative looking endgame. I'm seeing some very winning opportunities. So now we go back to b4, and here, okay, black can take with this pawn. And this is the genius part of this combination. Here white sacrifices the bishop on c5. Chef's kiss on that one. Why is this beautiful? Because you're sacrificing your last functional piece of this position. I'm not calling pawns functional, they're dysfunctional. They only move, they're robotic, okay? They only move one way. Okay, if you don't accept the sacrifice with b3, I'll just go king d3 and it's the same exact thing here. So you're most likely to take, and now we've created a corridor for our pawn to just march through. And we talked about this awkwardly placed bishop. Yeah, awkwardly placed. Cannot take up a7, cannot take up a5, because its own pawns block the thing. And so, as we said here, it can almost block a5, which is why we push a5 immediately. b3, now. Don't go a6 so quickly, because now b2, and black will queen with check. a7, check, king moves, queen a1, and you're done. So here you need to play king d3 and actually prevent this pawn from queening while your pawn scales up the board. Bishop takes f6 was played in the game, and this is mind-blowing sacrifice. Black found like a pretty good resource here. This is actually a valid sacrifice. If you are to take back, you have to be very careful not to lose, because now takes e5, and if you go a6, you have lost. e4 check, and now black has this phenomenal resource in which they pull both of their pawns down the board, and you can't go a7 because I think black will just find a draw here with check. Minimum draw. I think this is actually winning. It's winning. Never mind what I said, this is winning. So after bishop takes f6, Smyslov says, you know what, you can have the pawn. And he goes a6 here. Threatening a7, threatening a8. Again, the black pieces cannot stop this any way, shape, or form. This would take 3 moves. This would take 2 moves. Yeah, 2 moves is done. So this is what happened in the game. Bishop takes e5, a7, b2, and Smyslov is a funny guy in a completely winning position. Okay, he goes king c2. You need to stop this pawn. Bishop takes h2. We're agreeing that this is completely over, right? Just queen your pawn, and that's no. He goes king takes b2. Bishop e5 check and king c2. I love how he delays queening the pawn just to spite his opponent. Very petty, perhaps, but I love it at the same time. So I love this guy. No, for real, I would rank Smyslov as the second best endgame player of his of all time. I'm not sure, because Carlsen would take him just because he's that good, and you know, use of engines, that's very helpful. But overall, I would rate him top 3 of all time in endgames. and that's not even blasphemous. I took this endgame from this book, which I'll leave in the description. This is a terrific book, and I love it because it's literally all of his endgames in which he completely crushes his opponents on in the smallest of margins. Anyways, that's the endgame. Here his opponent resigned, and well, we know because there's a queen coming on. I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.